Every single day after you turn 50, the lenses and retinas in your eyes are quietly being destroyed by a process most eye doctors will never even mention to you. By the time you notice the blurriness, the night driving difficulty, the slow fade of color richness, you have already lost years of damage that could have been intercepted. And here is what makes me angry. The number one piece of advice the entire world gives you is eat your carrots. Eat your carrots for your eyes. That advice is not just outdated. It is actively distracting you from the one seed that peer-reviewed research shows can actually repair the cellular machinery inside your retina. We are going to get to that seed, but first you need to understand why your eyes are falling apart in the first place, because it has nothing to do with a carrot deficiency. Here is what nobody is telling you. The mainstream model of eye health is built on one idea. Give the eye more beta-carotene and everything will be fine. But beta-carotene is a precursor. Your body has to convert it into retinal, the active form, and after 50, that conversion rate drops off a cliff. Studies show the enzyme responsible, called BCO1, loses significant activity with age, especially if you carry common genetic variants that up to 45% of the population has. So you are eating carrots religiously. Your blood work might even show adequate vitamin A, but the specific tissues inside your macula, the part of your eye responsible for sharp central vision, are starving. They are starving not for beta-carotene. They are starving for something entirely different, and that is where the real science begins. Let me explain what is actually happening inside your eye right now. Your retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your entire body. It consumes more oxygen per gram than your brain. And when you have high oxygen consumption, you get a byproduct that is devastating: lipid peroxidation. That is a fancy way of saying the fragile fatty acids in your photoreceptor cell membranes are being shredded by free radicals every second of every day. When you are young, your body handles this with a robust antioxidant defense system anchored by glutathione, by superoxide dismutase, by a class of pigments called xanthophylls that sit directly inside the macula like a biological pair of sunglasses. But after 50, glutathione production declines by roughly 10% per decade. Your macular pigment density drops, and the lipid peroxidation wins. That is the root cause, not a lack of carrots. A collapse of the internal antioxidant shield that protects your photoreceptors from oxidative annihilation. And this is where it gets even worse. When those photoreceptor membranes get damaged, your retinal pigment epithelium, the RPE layer, has to clean up the debris. Think of the RPE as the janitorial staff of your retina. But when the damage is overwhelming, the RPE cells themselves start accumulating a toxic byproduct called lipofuscin. Lipofuscin is essentially cellular garbage that cannot be broken down. It builds up. It poisons the RPE cells. And when enough RPE cells die, you get drusen deposits, the hallmark of age-related macular degeneration. This entire cascade, lipid peroxidation to lipofuscin accumulation to RPE death to drusen to vision loss, is a chain reaction. Carrots do not interrupt a single link in that chain. Not one. So now let me show you what actually does. I am going to rank 4 natural interventions from barely moves the needle to the absolute king of retinal repair. And the final one is that seed I promised you. Starting at the bottom, bilberry extract, score 3 out of 10. You have probably seen this in every eye supplement on the market. Bilberry contains anthocyanins, which are decent antioxidants. The problem is bioavailability. Oral bilberry anthocyanins have an absorption rate under 2% in most studies. The amount that actually reaches your retinal tissue is negligible. Does it do 0? No. Some research shows marginal improvement in night vision adaptation speed. But if you are relying on bilberry to protect your macula from lipid peroxidation, you are bringing a water pistol to a 5-alarm fire. It is a symptom soother at best. Next here, lutein and zeaxanthin from food sources like spinach and egg yolks. Score 6 out of 10. Now we are getting somewhere. Lutein and zeaxanthin are the actual xanthophyll pigments that concentrate in your macula. They physically filter blue light and quench singlet oxygen radicals. This is legitimate science. The AREDS2 trial, one of the largest eye studies ever conducted, showed that supplementing 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin daily reduce the risk of progression to advanced macular degeneration. So why only a 6? Because here is the preparation secret that almost everyone gets wrong, and this is critical. Lutein and zeaxanthin are fat-soluble carotenoids. If you take them on an empty stomach, or with a low-fat meal, absorption drops by as much as 50 to 80%. I see people every day popping lutein capsules with their morning water and toast, and wondering why their vision is not improving. You are flushing money down the drain. These compounds require a meal with at least 7 to 10 grams of healthy fat, olive oil, avocado, even a handful of nuts, to activate bile salt emulsification in your small intestine. Without that fat, the lutein passes through you like a ghost. So even though lutein and zeaxanthin are powerful, the delivery failure rate in the general population is enormous. Third tier, astaxanthin, score 8 out of 10. This is where most people have never even heard the word, and that is a shame because astaxanthin is arguably the most potent lipid-soluble antioxidant ever studied. It is 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C at quenching singlet oxygen. 6,000 times. It crosses the blood-retinal barrier, which most antioxidants cannot do. It embeds directly into the phospholipid bilayer of your photoreceptor membranes, exactly where the lipid peroxidation damage is happening. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition showed that 6 milligrams of astaxanthin daily for 4 weeks significantly improved accommodation, the ability of the eye to shift focus between near and far objects, which is one of the first things that degrades with age. Another study showed it reduced eye fatigue markers by nearly 50%. Astaxanthin does what carrots wish they could do. It goes to the exact site of damage and neutralizes the free radicals in real time. So why is it not the king? Because astaxanthin is primarily defensive. It protects what you have. It slows the destruction. But it does not aggressively activate the regeneration pathways your retina needs to actually rebuild. And that brings us to the seed. The absolute king. Score 10 out of 10. Black seed, Nigella sativa. The tiny, crescent-shaped seed that has been used in traditional medicine for over 3,000 years, and that modern science is finally catching up to with results that are honestly staggering for eye health. Here is why black seed sits at the top. The primary active compound in Nigella sativa is thymoquinone. Thymoquinone does something that no carrot, no bilberry, and no standalone lutein supplement can do. It activates the NRF2 pathway. Let me explain why that matters so much. NRF2 is a transcription factor that lives inside every cell in your body, including your retinal cells. When NRF2 is activated, it migrates to the nucleus of the cell and switches on over 200 protective genes simultaneously. It upregulates glutathione production, the master antioxidant your eyes are losing every decade. It activates superoxide dismutase. It activates catalase. It stimulates heme oxygenase 1, which is anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective. In other words, thymoquinone does not just fight one free radical at a time like a single antioxidant molecule. It turns on your body's entire internal defense system. It is the difference between hearing one security guard and activating the entire alarm system of the building. But it gets deeper. A 2014 study published in the International Journal of Ophthalmology showed that thymoquinone significantly reduced markers of oxidative stress in retinal tissue and protected retinal ganglion cells, the cells that transmit visual information from your eye to your brain, from apoptosis. Cell death. It literally prevented your retinal nerve cells from committing suicide under oxidative stress. A separate study demonstrated that Nigella sativa extract reduced intraocular pressure, which is the primary driver of glaucoma, by a statistically significant margin through a mechanism involving aqueous humor dynamics. Another study, and this one shocked me, showed that thymoquinone inhibited the formation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, in lens tissue. AGEs are the protein cross-links that cause your lens to become rigid and opaque. That is cataract formation. Thymoquinone was shown to interfere with that process at the molecular level. So let me put this together for you. In black seed, you have a single compound that simultaneously restores your glutathione defense system, protects retinal ganglion cells from dying, reduces intraocular pressure, and inhibits the glycation process that causes cataracts. That is 4 separate mechanisms of eye destruction being addressed by one seed. Carrots address 0 of them. But here is the preparation secret, and if you miss this, you will waste your time. Most people buy ground black seed powder from the spice aisle, sprinkle it on food, and expect miracles. It will not work. Here is why. Thymoquinone is volatile. It degrades rapidly when exposed to heat, light, and air. Ground black seed powder that has been sitting on a store shelf for months has lost a significant percentage of its active thymoquinone content. What you need is cold-pressed black seed oil, stored in a dark glass bottle, refrigerated after opening. The cold pressing method preserves the thymoquinone because it avoids the heat that destroys it, and the dosage matters. Most of the clinical studies showing benefits use the equivalent of 1 to 2 teaspoons of cold-pressed black seed oil per day, not capsules, which are often underdosed and oxidized. The actual oil. Taken with a fat-containing meal, just like we discussed with lutein, because thymoquinone is also fat-soluble. And here is a combination that I believe, based on the research, is the most powerful eye protection protocol available without a prescription. 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil, taken with a meal that contains healthy fats, combined with 6 milligrams of astaxanthin, also taken with that same fatty meal. And a lutein and zeaxanthin source, whether it is a quality supplement delivering 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin, or 2 large egg yolks cooked gently, not fried at high heat because heat degrades the carotenoids. This combination gives you NRF2 pathway activation from the thymoquinone direct photoreceptor membrane protection from the astaxanthin, and macular pigment density restoration from the lutein and zeaxanthin. You are hitting the problem from 3 biological angles simultaneously. The cost of this entire protocol is roughly $1 to $2 a day. Compare that to the thousands you will spend on injections for wet macular degeneration, or the tens of thousands for cataract surgery that could have been delayed or potentially avoided. Now imagine this. Imagine waking up 30 days from now and noticing that the words on your phone screen are just slightly sharper. The headlights coming at you at night are just a little less blinding. The colors in your garden are just a touch more vivid. That is not a fantasy. That is what happens when you stop the lipid peroxidation cascade, restore your glutathione levels, and rebuild your macular pigment density. Your eyes are not broken. Your diet has been broken. Your information has been broken. And the mainstream advice to just eat more carrots has been, frankly, a failure for millions of people. Here is what I want you to do. I'm calling this the 30-Day Retinal Reset Challenge. Starting tomorrow, take 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil with your fattiest meal of the day. Add 6 milligrams of astaxanthin with that same meal. And get your lutein and zeaxanthin in, whether from a supplement or from real food sources taken with fat. Do this for 30 days straight. Before you start, take a photo of a page of text at the farthest distance you can read it clearly. Mark that distance. On day 30, take the same photo from the same distance and compare. You are going to be your own clinical trial, and I want you to come back here and tell me what you noticed. Put your results in the comments. Your eyes have been under attack for years, and nobody gave you the real weapons to fight back. Now you have them. The next piece of information I am going to share with you is just as important as what you heard today, because there is another organ connected to your eyes that most people ignore completely, and when it fails, your vision collapses no matter how much black seed oil you take. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it.